You're listening to Empowering Voices, Breaking Barriers with the Men of Confidence Mentorship Program, also known as MCM, a podcast series from Rockford University. The MCM program is funded by the Associated Colleges of Illinois, and this podcast is supported by the Healing Illinois Grant, funded by the Illinois Department of Human Services in partnership with the Field Foundation of Illinois and Rockford University. This podcast series provides a platform for students to enhance their leadership and communication skills by engaging with influential leaders from across the nation. Our aim is to learn about the personal journey of our guests and hear their perspective on how we can heal racial divides. In this episode, freshman MCM mentees Leonel Bautista and Victor Omari interview Rockford Mayor Tom McNamara. Known for his exceptional leadership, commitment to community development, and efforts to drive positive change, Mayor McNamara will share insights into his career and join us in a conversation about healing racial divides.
Welcome to another episode of Empowering Voices, Breaking Barriers with MCM, where we'll explore the past, present, and future while addressing ways to heal racial divides. I'm Leonel Bautista, Spanish major at Rockford University.
And I'm Victor Omari, a freshman majoring in accounting and financial economics at Rockford University. Today, we're incredibly honored to sit down with the mayor of Rockford, Mayor Tom McNamara. Tom McNamara was recently elected for his third term and has been a key driver to the city's growth and vision.
I'm really excited to be with both of you guys, so thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being here. We look forward to your insights.
I'm hopeful that I'll give you insights.
All right, let's take it back to the 80s, 90s. What was the childhood like for the mayor of Rockford?
So I was born in Northwest Rockford on John Street. So if you're familiar, it's like John and Ridge area, just off Auburn Street. I'm youngest of six. Mm-hmm. I have 5 older brothers and sisters, kind of like the Brady Bunch, not in the exact same order. Our family, I was really blessed. I have an amazing mother, and my dad was always my hero. He's no longer with us, but very engaged in the community from an elected standpoint. He too was an alderman, and then he was mayor. My mother also was incredibly engaged, a huge volunteer. So it was drilled into us that you could never just go to school and come home. You could never just go to school and go to work and come home. You couldn't just go to work and come home. You had to do something to give back to your community in some regard. It definitely never pushed that you had to be elected, but if you want to coach a kid's sport, you're engaged in your community. You should do that. If you wanted to volunteer at a soup kitchen, you're engaged in your community. You should do that. But you had to do something to give back. So that was a big part of my youth, is going constantly to different events and volunteering. And then I like to think I'm the wiffle ball champion of my neighborhood. Do you guys even play? Did you play wiffle ball?
No, I'm just pretending I know.
Oh my God. You guys never play. All right, so wiffle ball is like the little plastic ball that has like the little holes in it, and you throw it, and it's baseball. It's just...
With the rackets?
No, it's baseball with a plastic bat.
Never played it.
Oh my goodness.
I know what a wiffle ball is.
So we need to get serious, and we need to have like a Rockford University wiffle ball tournament. Mm-hmm. I'm playing it. I'll be on your team if you guys do it.
Completely agree. Is there any moment in particular that stands out from your childhood?
Any moment? Not necessarily my childhood. It's like college years childhood.
We'll pass it, yeah.
I mean, there was a moment in college, so I was really fortunate. I got an internship with Senator Dick Durbin. And during the internship, I had, at the time I didn't think it was an honor, but I had the honor of having a boss named Sally Brown Shackley. She actually still works for Senator Durbin's office. And she, I mean, the politest way I can put it is lit me up. She did not think I was giving my all in my internship. And honestly, I probably wasn't. And it wasn't the first time, but it was the first time I accepted direct criticism. And she did it in a really good way. Like, she was definitely very tough in her critique, but she was in a way that you can do better and you should be doing better. And it really, I think, changed kind of my mindset in just that conversation.
So, with all that, what would you say was the most significant lesson that you learned from the past?
I can't give you one. Can I give you a couple?
Yeah.
So my dad pounded away that everything in life is about attitude and gratitude. It's how you approach the situation. Wake up, is today going to stink, or is today a day I can tackle? Do I get to accomplish something? Or, oh man, I have to go to work, or oh man, I have to go to my classes. Like how you change that attitude, and it's something you control. And then the gratitude was that stuff is hard, right? Life is hard and it can be difficult. But even throughout all the difficulties, in any challenge that comes your way, there's always a lot that you should be really grateful for. If it's your family, if it's a coworker, another student, someone who loves and cares about you, there's still a lot to be grateful for. And I think attitude and gratitude really stuck with me because it's two things that mean a lot in your daily life, but it's also two things that you can't control. My attitude or gratitude, only I can. And so it's something I can control and I can own. So that was a big one. And then I worked at a community-based correctional facility, which also I think pretty dramatically changed my life. And I was thinking I was going to go into business or I was going to go into law school. And I worked at this nonprofit to help men and women convicted of felonies get back on their feet. And it was just amazing. I would sit across the table. I was, 20, 21 years old when I first interned there. And then I ended up running the county side of it when I was a little bit older. But you sat across the table from someone who may have spent 6 years in prison, and I'm living this really blessed life, and you realize, A, you're not that different than that individual, and B, probably and truthfully, the zip code I was born in and the parents I had are probably really the biggest differences me and this individual had. And I learned, I think it's kind of cliche, but I definitely learned a lot more from them than they learned from me.
During that internship, was there like something that clicked that made you like, yeah, I want to come back here? Or
yeah, I would say one, every interaction. So I was at first a case manager, like an intern case manager. So I had like a client list of like 7. I dealt with the men. I had client list of like 7 guys I worked with and helped get it back on their feet. And there were just constant individuals who made an impact. Then my supervisor during it, her name was Stephanie Holloway, and she too was a convicted felon who got back out, got her life back, and really started giving back to other people who were returning citizens. And she just opened up my eyes to the realities of life and coming from a very sheltered existence into what everyone else is facing. I still wear a necklace that she gave me just as a reminder of the lessons she taught me. And then my boss there, her name was Crystal Crockett, and she gave me far more authority and responsibility than I probably deserved or needed to have at such a young age. I mean, I was like a junior in college, and I was a case manager with a full caseload, and she just changed my life. She gave me enough responsibility, but she would also kind of tap me and push me in the right direction or hold me back when I was going in the wrong direction. And I just thought her leadership had a big impact.
In the topic of adversity, is there any challenge that you're particularly proud of overcoming?
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of different challenges. I don't know if I've ever overcome them. I think, people have helped me overcome them, or at least to an extent overcome them. I am not an extrovert. My position today makes me try to be an extrovert. So I think just overcoming, like, I'd much rather be sitting at home with a sweatshirt and sweatpants and hanging out with my kids than going to all meetings, being interviewed by 2 incredibly smart people like you. So I think there's smaller things like that. And then I think just from like a knowledge and education standpoint, from 3rd grade through junior year into senior year, I had a tutor in one or multiple subjects. And I think one challenge I overcome was I always thought, well, I didn't want to tell anyone I had a tutor. Like, I mean, only stupid people.
Yeah.
Don't say yeah.
No,
I'm joking. I'm joking. I know. But like, I had this impression, and then it just clicked to like, actually really smart people ask people for help.
Exactly.
And my wife actually makes fun of me because I ask for help everywhere I go. She's like, you don't even start to do so. I'm like, no, I take advantage of the help that is there first. And I've learned more from that. And so I think that was a challenge I overcome, is just understanding when I need help and how to access that help and not be afraid to ask for help.
Yeah, you mentioned about your wife, Sarah, and she actually has a business in Rockford, too.
Man.
So, with both of y'all being so...
Where are you finding this stuff at? She does. She's a lot smarter, a lot cooler than I am.
Yeah. So how do you balance, like, your work life and your personal life with everything going on?
Oh, man. I'm so happy you're asking me this and not Sarah. It is not one of my strong points. I'm married way up in the world. I have an amazing wife. She's just the best. And we have two beautiful kids, Olympia and Maliki. Olympia just turned 9. Maliki is soon to be 8. If I'm not working, I'm with them. I don't do, I don't have a bunch of friends that I'm going to go and, have a pizza and pop with and watch the games. I don't do any of that. I really enjoy working, and that coupled with the challenges of my job and the joys of my job make it difficult. And so I really do try to set aside blocks of time every week, and it sounds really awful to put it this way, but it's literally on my calendar. Like if you looked at my calendar, you would see it very full, but you would see big chunks of 4 hours or even, an occasional 8 hours that I'm just at home. No, I don't want to be bothered, unless obviously something really big happens, but that is my time to really concentrate and be with my family.
Yeah, so with the calendar, how would you say a day in your life is like?
So I'm up early. I wake up at about 4:30 in the morning. I check emails and do all of that till about 5:30. Read up on any news articles I see. I check all of the crime reports that I need to that came to me over the evening. There's usually 2 that will have come to me depending on when I went to bed. So check all of the kind of quick hit stuff that I need to check immediately. About 5:30, I get my kids up, or they're already up, and I hang out with them for about 30 to 45 minutes, get them dressed, and then I'm off to work. And then my days are, I think I have the best job in Rockford. I mean, it's so cool. I get to go everywhere. I get to meet folks like you. I get to meet a business owner. I get to meet an information technology expert. I get to talk about bridging the digital divide. I get to talk about what we're going to do downtown at Davis Park to rebuild it and make it more activated. All of this, what's neat is it happens in one day. And I am a big person. I usually have long lists of stuff I want to get done every day. So the night before, I'm making my list of what I want to get done the next day. Then I have a list that I want to get done that week. I have a list I want to get done that month, and a smaller list that I want to get done of big topics each year. So I follow a list. I am very calendar centric. So if it's on my calendar, I will be there. I will do it. If it's not on my calendar, you probably won't see me there.
How often do you complete the calendar?
The calendar I complete every day.
The list.
All right. I just wanted you to go with the calendar. The calendar I do every day. And I get home probably around 9, between 8:30 and 10 every day. Mm-hmm. And so the list, my year list I get done for sure. My week list, I am probably 90% get done. My day list, it all depends on the day.
Yeah.
I mean, today I'll have my list, I think, done, depending on what happens after this interview. But I think that's also kind of the joy of the job. Like something pops up that you have no idea that's going to happen. And maybe you'll get your whole list done, or maybe you won't get any of it done, and you'll be pushing it to the next day. I think that's part of the joy of the job.
Of course. As we take a look at your future calendar, is there any goals that you have for the future?
Yeah, when you're saying future, how long are we talking?
Maybe after your career in mayorship, or maybe during mayorship.
Okay. I mean, as mayor, there's a lot that I still want to get done. Mm-hmm. I mean, we have huge infrastructure projects I want to see get completed. I think we are really exciting right now. We're investing actually in all of our community. We have $96 million worth of road construction happening just this summer. I want to continue to expand Rockford Promise because actually just up until 4 years ago, me and my wife Sarah were paying more for our student loans than we were paying for our mortgage, our taxes, and insurance combined every single month. And I don't think, and again, as I said, I'm really blessed and fortunate. I got a good job, make a good living, but so many don't, and I don't think their finances should be their barrier to their education and what they can do furthering. I want to expand programs for people to get into the trades as well as education. We need to continue to focus on violent crime, so we'll continue to make that a priority. I would say outside, and one big thing I want to do is I think and I'm biased, I get paid to say this, but I also really believe it. I think there's some amazing things taking place in Rockford, and I'm not just saying, at the city, all throughout our community, that I think that story needs to be told on a more regional and national level. And so I would really like to push that out over the next several years. Personally, really to me, everything is Olympia, Maliki, and Sarah. And so I want to do a better job with my time management, no matter what I do after being mayor, and spend a lot more time with them and just love on them. They grow up way too fast.
Okay, so have you personally felt the consequences of racial divides in your life?
Have I?
Yes.
Yes.
Maybe during school or maybe as mayor.
Absolutely. Certainly as mayor of the city of Rockford, I have absolutely felt it, seen it, in our community, continues to experience it. I would say constant, but I would say most dramatically after the tragic murder of George Floyd. I think we did a pretty good job. I wouldn't say a great job, but a pretty good job of including more voices at the table and making sure that more people were part of the conversation of what we needed to do as a community and how we needed to face challenges as a community. I would say a struggle that we have right now is I don't know really the appropriate way to say this, but we live in very short news cycles, very short attention spans. And I think a concern I have is, and I don't want to get like super political with you, but a concern I have is, right now you have diversity, equity, and inclusion now under attack. People are literally scrubbing, organizations are scrubbing their websites of different terminology so that they can still get federal funding. You are seeing actually terminology being given to organizations saying you can no longer use these words in any of your grants or papers with the federal government. And just a couple of years ago after George Floyd, everything was about diversity, equity, and inclusion. Yeah. And I think a struggle that we are going to have to navigate here at the local level is I get someone, maybe more than one person in DC doesn't want us to talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion. But I have seen firsthand, not that we were great at it, but I think we were all moving in the right direction, that it's made us a better city. It's made us think of things that we normally didn't. And so I get an opportunity to appoint people to different boards and commissions. So the Rockford Mass Transit District, the Rockford International Airport, the library, all these different boards. And I think it's important for us as a city that we actually not shy away from diversity, equity, and inclusion, but while everyone else wants to do whatever they're doing, we need to dive further into it. And so, you just think about it, and someone said it better than I'll say it, but what's the opposite of diversity?
Is it adversity?
I would say everything. Yeah. Opposite of diversity to me is everyone's the same. Yeah. Well, how boring would that be? What's the opposite of equity? Inequity, right? Yeah. Okay. What's the opposite of inclusion?
Exclusion.
Okay, so do we really want to be a community that's all the same, that's inequitable, and that we work to exclude people?
No.
That's what they're saying when they say they're against DEI, is that they're saying then they are for that. To me, that's a really weak person's and weak thought philosophy to have. I think what makes us cool is that there's more than 70 languages spoken at Rockford Public Schools. I think we need to dive further into that and lift up those voices and say, I mean, yeah, you have 70 different languages. You have people who look all different. We all look different, right?
Yeah.
But right now, we all also have one thing in common. We're all Rockfordians. Today, we are all Rockfordians. And I think as long as we celebrate the diversity, but at the end of the day, we know we're all Rockfordians, I think that makes us a better city.
Now, as Rockfordians, what can we do individually to
Look at that
help
transition,
the-
man.
but
What can we do?
individually?
Probably a bunch that we can do individually. I would say, not to oversimplify it, I would say two big things immediately come to mind. One, hold people accountable. I think there's a certain way to do that, and there's a way that's effective and not effective. But however you see it, I can appreciate it. But like hold people accountable. So I just said, all these things I think are great, that we're all different. Okay, so when you see that I may be moving in a direction or a choice, a policy or a program or an initiative that I'm pushing doesn't do that, I think you guys should email me. Give me a call and say, dude, we just sat down with you during this podcast. You said this great thing. I don't know if this policy actually aligns with what you said. I think this doesn't make us stronger. I think come to city council and speak. Reach out to your council members, the mayor, whoever it is, but hold us accountable. If you have ideas, bring them forward. I would say at the base of it all, I think we get pretty far just by treating people how we would want to be treated. Maybe even a step beyond that, treat them better than you would want to be treated. And I think all of us can do that.
As a young person myself, what role do you think we have in building a more inclusive community?
So I think you have more power than you probably realize that you have, especially in a community like Rockford. I mean, one of the big reasons I came back to Rockford, like I've lived in Cleveland, I've lived in DC, I've loved both of those cities. But I was younger when I moved back. I think I was like 29 when I moved back. And one big reason I wanted to is, I'm guessing we're somewhat similar. You're probably a little bit impatient. You want to see change right away. You want to be active right away. You don't want to maybe always wait your turn to do those things. You may also see different elected officials be like, well, I could do that better. I'd say do it. I mean, in Rockford, the neat thing is you can. If you want to get engaged, like when I came back, I wrote down a list and I said, these are things I like. And so, or things that are, I value, I shouldn't say things I value. So I was born and raised on the West Side. I love the West Side. Also think youth are the future. So I love youth. Put those and many others on this list. And then I teamed them up with organizations. I was like, well, Northwest Community Center is on the West Side and helps youth. So I reached out to Northwest Community Center and was like, I'd love to sit on your board. Do you have any openings? Our nonprofits are starving for younger leadership. If one of you reached out to them, I am almost positive that they would say yes to you probably immediately. If not, they'd say, but can we create a junior board member, whatever that looks like for them. But I think you have more power than you probably comprehend right now. And I think how you utilize that for good is really what I would encourage folks to do as young people, is use it. I also think in Rockford, it's a great size. I mean, if you emailed me individually and you want to chat, you're going to get my cell phone number. If you emailed an alderman, you're probably going to get their cell phone number, their email, and want to have that direct communication with you. And you can actually change things. I mean, many of the things that you're seeing take place, young people have played a role in, just even over the last 8 years.
With younger people, myself, wanting to make a change, I'd say probably the biggest thing for me is just like a lack of confidence. And I don't know if you can tell, but you're really confident. So how'd you get that?
It's a good show. I don't know if you ever are there, right? I mean, I don't walk into any room and be like, oh, I'm really confident. I think that's actually probably when you're at your weakest. I think as long as you're humble, you're always vulnerable, and you're always asking for help, that'll serve you better. But like confidence-wise, I think a lot of it's repetition, right? And it's practice. I mean, like I give a lot of speeches, but I practice a heck of a lot more speeches than I give. Like when I'm giving a larger speech, like in 2 weeks, I have to give a speech to the Greater Rockford Chamber of Commerce. So there'll probably be between 180 and 300 people there. It's not my comfort zone. My comfort zone's this. My comfort zone's 30 people at like a neighborhood meeting or less. But a big speech, not my comfort zone. It's not my jam. I like bullet points. I don't like a full written out speech, but for that big of a group, it probably needs to be fully written out. And so I will practice that speech more times than my staff would want me to. And so I practice it on my own. I practice it with 1 or 2 different people. Then I practice it with them all there, and I ask them all to just critique me.
Well, I feel like that's a great way to wrap it up. Be sure to, wrap up the conversation today with our mayor. It's always enlightening to hear your perspective on these pressing topics. Thank you so much.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Of course, yeah.
All right. As mayor, what do you think I should be doing different, better, or maybe you don't know, but what should I be doing to make sure that people your age feel comfortable? Because it's easy for me to say, just email us, call us. What should we be doing, and myself specifically do, so that you feel comfortable coming forward with those ideas and you want to be engaged?
I would say like what you're doing now, like being here in the podcast, talking to us, and this will be shown to Rockford University students. So I feel like they'll have more of a connection with you in that.
Okay.
And I also feel like community events, like if you were to just come to Rockford University and just speak about anything, I feel like that would give us like a good pathway to just have a way to connect with you.
Awesome. What do you think?
I think you've been doing a great job. I know you went with international students, kids from Rockford University. I feel like that's a great way, because sometimes being a mayor, from our perspective, you seem unreachable, and really being with us makes it seem more possible for us to connect with you.
Well, since this will be broadcast, if anyone at Rockford University needs anything, you can always reach out. My email's pretty easy. It's thomas.mcnamara@rockfordil.gov. My cell phone number is 815-262-6734. Reach out. Would love to hear from you. And thank you guys for all that you're doing. Appreciate it. It's an honor to be with you.
Be sure to join us next time on Empowering Voices, Breaking Barriers with MCM for more inspiring discussion about our community. Until then, take care and stay empowered.
Thank you for joining us on Empowering Voices, Breaking Barriers with MCM. We appreciate you tuning in. Remember to follow us on social media for updates and future episodes. We'd also love to hear your thoughts on today's discussion. Share your insights because your voice matters, and we're committed to building a community where everyone feels empowered.
Curious to know, do you write your own speeches, or do you have a speech writer who can
So
assist with that?
I would say it really goes 2 different ways. So I did a Rockford University commencement. I wrote that. I did
Good too. I was there.
I did a Greater Rockford Chamber of Commerce. I'll be honest, has kind of creeped up on me. Usually I want a draft already in my hand. But I had the election, and that took a little bit of time away. But thanks. But this, Laura, our communications director, this is all city related, so she can do it. She's going to do a very rough draft, which I'll have tomorrow, I hope. And then I'll make corrections. I'll give it to another person, have them make corrections of my corrections. Then we'll give it back to Laura. She'll make her own corrections of all of our corrections. And then we'll probably sit down, I'll give it once, and we'll say, okay, we are totally missing this, or, oh my gosh, I didn't realize 4 minutes are spent on this topic that 30 seconds should be on. So it'll change a lot. My rule is 3 days before I give it, I don't want any changes, unless they're like stylistic, like pause here, do this, because I want to practice it. And like, I'll give it to my wife. I've given them to my kids before, and I don't recommend doing that. But it's a lot of practice.